Hello everyone and welcome to the Marketing Show here at BusinessTheNow.com, where you, the small business owner, can come to improve the way you work. And before we jump right into the lesson, just got to give a big thank you to everyone who's been helping distribute the content here on Business The Now. It's been great to see all the retweets, the likes on Facebook, the BizSugar votes, and then also the comments. Please continue to comment on the blog posts. I love to see them, love to read them. So thank you everyone who's been helping out with that. It's been great to see. So I guess with that, let's jump right into today's lesson. And we're talking about choosing the right people to follow on Twitter. So we get a lot of people that like to follow us, and we like to follow a lot of people. But what are the deciding factors that make us choose to follow this person over that other person? So just got a few filtering techniques that you can use when deciding who to follow on Twitter. Because let's face it, there's a lot of people on social networking sites that aren't there for the right reasons, are there to spam you or just push their product or don't hardly use it at all. So we really have to be careful with who we decide to follow so we don't waste our time. And I have a few just little tips that we can look at, a few things that you can kind of filter out and find the right people that can add value to you and that you can add value for. So the first one that I always look at is the picture. So, a picture can really describe what this business is or who this person is just by looking at it. First thing I look for is to see if it's a picture of an actual person on there, if this is the actual person behind the business name. If you are under your business name on Twitter, I highly suggest using just a headshot of yourself and putting that up on Twitter, because I think people look to connect with real people. After all, this is a social networking site, so if you have your logo up, or I see a lot of people like to put up pictures of their cats or their dog, or just a crazy image that's really non-related to what their interests are or what their business is about. I think that's a big no-no and turns a lot of people off, and that's definitely the first thing that I look at. So really look at the picture that you have up on Twitter. Is it a picture of you? I suggest doing that. Next thing that you can look at are the lists. We are able to create lists on Twitter to kind of help keep us organized and everyone who we're following. So look at the list that people have created. But I think something better to look at are the lists that person is included in. And I have an image there to kind of just show where you can see that up on Twitter, and I'm sure a lot of you know where that is. But look to see how many lists are actually included in. If a person has like 20,000 followers, but they are on no list, or only like 2 lists, well, that's telling you that people don't know how to classify this person. They don't know what their real brand is on Twitter, what their interests are, what their hobbies are, what they are actually tweeting about. So really look at that. I think that could be more of a deciding factor than actually how many lists that they have created themselves, because after all, Twitter has private lists that you don't have to show to people. I know I have some of those as well. So look at that. Also retweets as well too. Is this person distributing content? Are they just talking about themselves the whole time? I think retweets are a great way to decide if people are going to help distribute your information, and you as well should be putting out retweets from other people, because let's face it, there are other experts out there than just ourselves. So let's make sure to retweet from other people on the topic that we are communicating to everybody on Twitter. So I like to tweet a lot about marketing, so I'll give out tweets from like Chris Brogan, The Rise to the Top, Social Media Examiner, tons of them out there. So really look at the retweets that a person has, and you yourself should be doing them as well. And then also the mentions on there, the @replies. I think that's a great way to see if this person is actually engaging on Twitter and communicating with people, because that's who we want to connect with. We want to have conversations about our topic of interest. So I like talking about marketing, so I look to see who's out there talking about social media, talking about SEO, pay-per-clicks. Anything related to marketing is what I look for, and I look to see if they're actually having conversations on Twitter. So look at the mentions. That can help. The bio as well is an important part. I mean, this should be the basic thing that we can decide what this person is on Twitter and what are they doing. It's the best way for us to gauge what their tweets are going to be about, if they're going to be tweeting anything relevant to what we like to do. For instance, if somebody follows me and they're a big Justin Bieber follower, and that's what they're going to be tweeting about, I'm not going to follow them because I have no interest in what Justin Bieber does. So I think the bios really help filter out people. And then the number one thing that probably people look at first, but I put the least value on, is how many followers they have and how many people they are following themselves, because I think it can be a little misleading. There are a lot of people out on Twitter that are just chasing the numbers. They just want to get a number of people, and so they'll follow like 20,000 people and hope that people will follow them back, and they'll have the same amount of followers. So, I really don't put too much emphasis on that. One thing to look at is, do they have 20,000 followers, but they're only following 50 people? They could be a Twitter snob then. Might want to look at that. I think you see that a lot with celebrities, but I don't give celebrities a free pass on this, just because, if I'm one of their biggest fans, why wouldn't they want to, follow me back? So just a few tips for you on how you can filter out people on Twitter so that you're following the right people and giving the information to the right people. So really look at those. I wouldn't use all those as determining factors, like if somebody's missing 2 out of the 6 things that I mentioned, or 3 out of the 6 things, that's fine. But they're just some guidelines to kind of go by to help you determine if this person's going to be right for you on Twitter or not. So that pretty much brings our lesson to an end. And the question of the day, I know you all look forward to this. I just want to know, how do you decide who to follow on Twitter? So is it the picture? Is it the retweets? Is it something else? Did I forget to mention something that is really a determining factor for you on who to decide to follow on Twitter? So let me know. And I hope to see you guys on another episode of The Marketing Show on BusinessDoneNow.com.